What up, guys? What's going on? Welcome back to another stream. So we've named this one Nerd Theory Podcast. I think, in collaboration of the Den of Nerds and Star Wars Theory. I think this is probably a cool name. Some of you came up with this. Wait, did you come up with this?
No, it was
I think
them.
you messaged
It was
me.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. And I think a lot of people just like, I like it too. It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It rolls off the tongue. You guys let us know. So today we got some pretty interesting information brought to you by Josh. Josh, you take it away, man. I'm going to pop it up on the screen so you guys can see.
Yes. So
Yeah,
we're
go
starting with Rahul stuff, right?
Yeah.
So maybe some of you guys saw this. This happened late last week. The actor, I think he's most known for iZombie. I've seen him pop up on Funhouse as well. Funhouse is a cool, streaming channel. They do a lot of video game stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Rahul set the internet on fire with a couple of different tweets. One of them said, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically I'm in that Lothal orphan.
I've gotten into that Lothal orphan, force sensitive, trained by Kanan Jarrus kind of shape for no particular reason. Then in another tweet, seriously, for no particular reason.
Yeah. So he says that, right?
Yeah.
And so everybody loses their mind about this.
Yeah.
And then he has to shut it down, right?
Right.
And the thing that I thought was so
but then
crazy
he posts
was,
a picture.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? He's kind of trolling in a sense, I would say, because even his video where he says it's not real.
Oh, that looks so freaking fake to me, man.
Oh, you mean his face and
yeah, and a little wink at the end, nah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's the Mandalorian theme is playing in the video.
Yeah.
So what is, you know what I mean? He's either, I'll tell you this. One of two things. Either he's definitely Ezra Bridger, which I'm kind of leaning towards that, or he is a master of social media, and whatever this other show is that he was kind of promoting, I'm gonna check that out either way. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's tough because he might just be doing for a publicity stunt, but the way he's trolling stuff, it's he knows Star Wars fans are so freaking passionate that if he teases this and then they get on the train of oh my god, he's Ezra, and then he doesn't show up as Ezra, he's gonna get flamed.
Yeah.
So the fact that he keeps kind of teasing it like this, and he's like, no, I'm not Ezra. Seriously, I'm not Ezra. I'm not, guys, and Mando music playing in the background, and then okay, see you later. And then just keeps posting Star Wars stuff. It's
yeah, dude,
it's
for real,
dude, on set, Star Wars shirt.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, I think this is the guy, man. I think this is our Ezra Bridger. Somebody dug up too on Reddit a story from months ago where I believe it was the Illuminati reported that there was a casting sheet going out for the live action Ezra Bridger. This is when a lot of these rumors picked up.
Really?
This casting sheet. Yeah, somebody got a hold of the casting sheet. And it was out there. So this guy Rahul, he quote tweets that article with the eyeball emojis months ago.
No way.
Yeah. So people are starting to put the pieces together.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at the photo. He looks like him, with the beard. It looks legit like him.
Yeah. I mean, I would love for this guy to be the live action Ezra Bridger. And my imagination goes into so many cool places with this, and I'm sure that we can just kind of get into this. But Ezra is one of my favorite Jedis, if not my favorite Jedi, and so to have him in live action it literally makes me giddy, like a boy, the best Star Wars stuff does, right? It just makes me feel really, really good. So, man, I'd love to see this guy come in. And I think we're going to talk a little bit, too, about the Rosario Dawson Force FX picture, right?
Yep, I saw that, and it looked... I was like, why wouldn't they use the cartoon version? It looks a little Rosario Dawson-esque,
Right. And so we might have our two more... not new, but new to live-action Jedi. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing... so far with this. So obviously we don't see them on set or anything, but
no, I'm gonna bring it up on the screen in a second here.
Yeah, but it's kind of incredible. And also I made some mentions of this in streams and in my video about it, but I feel as though maybe he got coached up a little bit by Rosario, because Rosario Dawson did, when she was asked directly about Ahsoka, basically said, "That's not confirmed yet, but I can't wait until it is."
Yeah.
And that's like the weirdest non-answer. Like, that was wild. That's like when they asked, I don't know if you remember this, but before The Last Jedi, they asked Frank Oz about being Yoda,
Mm.
and he gave like the worst
Some
non-answer
convoluted,
ever.
weird answer.
Yeah, and you were just like, "Okay, Yoda, see you
It's
soon." You
like,
know what
see
I
ya,
mean?
dude. Yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you guys check this out on the screen. This is the new image for Ahsoka Tano for the lightsaber that's coming out with Hasbro. The Force FX. Obviously, you can see, like, this doesn't look like the Ahsoka that we see from either Rebels or Clone Wars. So it looks a lot like her to me. I mean,
Yeah.
you got the photo here. Check it out.
Yeah.
So I
No.
think they're teasing stuff and they're just getting ready for what's to come.
Yeah. Yeah, man, for sure. And I think the thing that's kind of interesting too about this, and I've sort of this is for some reason is a hang up with people,
Hmm.
but I've explained that, like, sort of from what I've heard, the lightsaber that Rosario will be wielding in Mando is blue, and not the gray that we see her in, in Rebels, the gray,
That's weird.
sort of purified. Yeah, and this again being the Force FX blue saber, sort of just, I always like to say it sort of just tracks. It makes sense considering everything else that we've been hearing and that we've been talking about. It's like, yeah, this fits. This is a puzzle piece that fits perfectly into that story.
Why would she have the blue one though? That's
So I
weird.
can't figure it out canonically, but from a marketing perspective, they just know how big Clone Wars season 7 ending was.
Yeah.
And that's the last time a lot of people saw that character, and she had the blue sabers. And she drops one of them as sort of like a breadcrumb
Like an
for
Easter
Anakin.
egg or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is assumed that she has the other one still. And so, from what I hear, she'll have the one blue saber in the Mandalorian.
Interesting. I wonder
Mm.
if she obviously still kept that one, or if she met up with Luke and Luke found it in Vader's archives, or maybe in his. Dude, what if we get Luke going back to Vader's temple on
Well,
Mustafar,
that would be absolutely nuts. And I think,
finding all this stuff in there?
yeah, yeah. Well, one of the big things with Mando 2, based on the trailer that I think a lot of people have sort of come to just discuss, is like, is this an ode to Luke? And is the Mandalorian searching for Luke?
Right.
I think you and I kind of think that's Ilum. Some people think it could be Hoth, and some people think that you're actually going through different places that not only that Luke was at, but that, like, some really crazy Force type stuff happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think he left some breadcrumbs, and I think Mando is trying to pick up on these breadcrumbs, and in the end, he'll search through different, people, different Jedi Force users, this and that, and then eventually he'll go to the head honcho, which is Luke Skywalker,
Yeah.
and I mean, him and Ahsoka know Yoda the best, at least from what
Yes.
we know. So it just doesn't make sense that Mando would go to anybody else in order to find the most information about the child, because it would
Right.
just wouldn't make sense. So
Right.
I think that's Ilum. I think, everything in this season is going to be about the Jedi. I think it's going to have a lot of Force knowledge. There's going to be a lot of backstories here and there. And we're
Mm.
going to understand things from the Clone Wars, maybe more flashbacks, this and that. And I'd love to see more regarding any of the Jedi in particular after Order 66 and
Yeah.
surviving even after the Empire. Where have they been this whole time?
You think Cal Kestis is on the table? You think that he could be one of these as well? Because, my mind sort of goes to um, Ahsoka and Ezra sort of being the new Jedi that will carry on the Jedi Order. Like,
Yeah.
as weird as it sounds, I think Finn and Rey are kind of off the board. So even in a post Episode 9 world, I actually think it would be like a really old Ahsoka, a pretty old and grizzled Ezra, perhaps a Cal Kestis, Jason Sendula,
Yeah.
those kind of characters. I would love to see those characters, carry on the legacy of the Jedi.
Yeah, Jason makes sense. He'd be probably the youngest of all of them at this point.
Yes. Yeah,
And
he would be.
we
Yeah.
know that we heard Ahsoka's voice at the end of Rise of Skywalker, but it was actually not confirmed whether she was dead or alive.
Yeah, well, Filoni had that tweet where he did a little Gandalf sketch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you seen that? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, remember when they thought I was dead too or something?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I doubt she's dead. I mean, that opens up a whole can of worms about episode 9, but we don't have to go there.
Yeah, right.
But regardless, like, would you be cool with that? Like, would you be cool with these characters? Here's the thing, like Ahsoka, I think the reason we love this character so much is because of her connection to Anakin.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Like, just period. So, I mean, number one, I kind of want to see,
she's badass, and then she just overcame so many obstacles, and she's like
True.
she's like a female Luke.
Yeah. No. I mean, like, I feel that, and I like the nuance and the, like, sort of the efficacy of the character as well. But I think that, like, at its core, it really has to do with, like for me,
Big connection to Anakin, yeah.
Yeah. Like, in the last, like, in the end of season 7, man, when she can't, like, Maul is literally, like, laying it out there for her.
Yeah.
And she can't give up on Anakin. Like, she just can't. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's really cool. So, I think she's potentially a great arbiter for the teachings of the new Jedi, because let's face it, the Skywalker saga and the fall of Anakin and the rise and fall of Anakin, and then Luke, doing that, and I guess you can tack on the Rey thing as well. But that whole thing, it was a huge learning experience for the Jedi. They cannot be the same moving forward. Like, there has to be changes to the order.
Yeah,
right.
I think so too. I think we could see a lot of interesting stuff with Ahsoka and like what she's been up to this entire time. And if they throw Ezra in there, how do you think they're gonna do that? Because Thrawn was there too, so they're gonna have to bring him along.
This is a part that I'm so confused about, because so I think, and this is a scoop by the Kessel Run Transmission guys, and shout out to them, but they had this scoop about the Rebel sequel series. I don't know if you've heard any about this.
I've heard there was a rumor, yeah.
Yeah. So this thing was, I mean, when I had reached out to sources and stuff, like, it was good. Like, it was a go. But there's been, like, zero movement on it. And, like, no, like, for instance, just as an example, the Bad Batch stuff, like, came on people's radar around the same time, but was officially announced by Disney way ahead of anything with the Rebel sequel, right?
Right.
So that's kind of a head scratcher where, like, we were all like, well, what happened to the Rebel sequel series?
Yeah.
And some people think that Filoni and maybe Lucasfilm sort of took the concept for that series and are now breaking it up into live action. But as far as, like, where's Thrawn, I don't know. I'm trying to, like, piece that together myself, right? Like, how could he just
I'd be down for that.
Have to be, well, it would have to be after they have to have found him then at that point, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, Ezra and him traveled together.
Yeah.
So
they'd have, like, and at the end of the epilogue, Ahsoka takes Sabine seemingly to go search for him.
What's confusing to me is they went to the unknown regions, and that's where supposedly Snoke is from, right?
Sure.
Which Palpatine designed and all this stuff. So it's like, did Thrawn have some sort of hand in helping Palpatine come back on Exegol?
Look, I've always thought that would be cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But to be honest, the way Zahn has been writing Thrawn, particularly the new version with Disney, doesn't feel like a Thrawn move. Like, I feel like Thrawn would discard of the Emperor as soon as possible. Like, I don't think he really likes that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he respects power and he understands the
authority
place.
And all that, but he just
Yeah.
He's logically, well, if you died, you weren't strong enough to survive, so see you later.
Yeah, he'd be like, yeah, whatever. And honestly, it'd be probably better for him regardless. But yeah, that is a confusing one. It's like, where would Thrawn be? Because does Ezra and do Ezra and Thrawn, and also this is what complicates the situation further, there is a rumored Thrawn and Ezra show. So unless
I didn't know that
show, and it's corroborated by some good people, not like super solid, but it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
So if that show's real, then where does that show take place in the timeline? It would have to take place technically before his appearance in Mando season 2, right? Like it would have to. So I don't know how that all fits together. But that's like some of the theories out there is like, well, maybe they sort of took that whatever Dave had in mind for animated, and then maybe they expanded upon it, broke it apart, put it back together again in live action. So
I think live action would be a good move. I mean, look, I'm gonna watch it whether it's animated or it's live action, but I feel like with live action, and this is a bit of a slippery slope almost if I'm saying this, but I feel like with live action you get a little bit more emotion relayed. Like you just can see more. If you have a good actor, you can see more of the
True.
physical
Yeah.
features, the expressions, and this and that, and you just almost get an overall feeling that I don't know. It's like take Revenge of the Sith and turn it into an animated show. It'll feel different. It'll still feel great, but it'll feel different. And I feel like when you have something that's live action, it almost feels more real in a sense. But it's tough for me to say that because I love animated stuff. Like Toy Story was like my favorite movie as a kid, obsessed with it. But you just get, I think you get a more emotion from live action.
Yeah, I've always felt like when it comes to like animated stuff, the writing itself has to be so much more solid.
Yeah,
Because you can't rely on like a brilliant actor like, taking a
it's
script
true.
and doing
Yeah, what if he sucks?
right. So you like that's why the writing is so important, and I think like Pixar sort of like proved this too, where
Yeah.
like if you look at the scripts for some of the most successful Pixar movies, like they are tight, dude. Like those are tight scripts. And it's not always that way in live action, but I think like to mirror your point, the difference is a great actor can completely disregard a script and make something in a moment or in a scene
Yeah.
that is so. I mean, like think about the I love you, I know, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
just et cetera, et cetera. Like, so yeah, I they're both really.
It's tough for me to even say that because I was this like animations have been such a stronghold in my life. Like they're just so moving and touching, especially all the Pixar films.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're just I can't say one is better than the other. They're different.
Yeah.
So I think when it comes to Star Wars, I love both of them, animated and live action. But I want to see, if we're bringing those characters in, I want to see some live action. I think that would be neat. Especially seeing Ahsoka in live action.
Yeah, dude.
Pretty cool.
I'm pretty stoked on it.
Yeah.
It's we talked about this last week, but it's like, come on, it's like about time. We've desired this for a while, but I wanna sort of ask you this question because it has to do with what you're talking about because I've seen this in the fandom and I'm interested in your thoughts. There are a group of fans that would actually prefer the story of Ahsoka if it does continue to be in animated form. And they're actually a little upset that, for instance, Ashley Eckstein is not involved, right? That Taylor Gray,
I
I
am
think
too.
is
Yeah.
okay.
I'm
So
definitely upset that she's not involved. Yeah, I think she should at least be the voice. Do what they did with Darth Maul with Ray Park and Sam Witwer. Something like that. Even that in itself, it felt a little strange. And I saw an interview with Ray Park where he was saying like he has a certain way of like speaking as Maul, and of course so does Sam Witwer. So it's like even matching up the way the mouth moved and everything, and then Sam had to like match up how Ray Park's performance was. So it's like it wasn't the true authentic Sam Witwer Maul. So even then things can become a little bit weird.
Yeah.
I look at it like this. Look, if you introduce a character to me in live action like Luke, don't give me a episode 6 to 7 Luke Skywalker animated. Keep the leniency. So if Ahsoka starts off as animated, I have spent so many years connecting with this animated character that I want to see her story continue to be told in an animated style.
Yeah.
But if you started off like a certain way, live action or animated, continue it that way. If you want to then embellish or add to her story later on with the Mandalorian, this and that, I'm cool with it. But don't sacrifice, continuing her story with, let's say, beyond season 7 of the Clone Wars or beyond Rebels with live action. So I feel like this part in the Mando, it doesn't do that, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's its own thing. It's about Mando and the baby, so.
Yeah, I mean, but I feel you on that. The thing that's interesting is though, if the Filoniverse stuff is real, then that would sort of indicate that a lot of the future of this story will be told in live action. And so like a lot of fans, kind of like what you're saying, they're sort of
Yeah.
pushing back against that. And I get what you're saying. I think the flip side for me, well, there's two flip sides. Like number one, like just like in my heart, my raw reaction is
Yeah.
like is just like, yeah, but I kind of want to see the more badass version. Like I
Yeah.
just, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I get it, and like people were sort of dogging Sasha Banks, and being like, that doesn't look like Sabine. I was like, that's my Sabine now. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like honestly,
Yeah.
I want that version.
Yeah.
But the other side of it is like people like us are gonna check out animation, and we're not normies in that sense, right? But I've got a lot of good friends and just normie people in my life that they're not going to check out a Star Wars cartoon. Like it just doesn't matter how many times I tell them it's incredible, they're not going to do it. But if they watch that character in live action, especially on, Disney Plus, super accessible,
Yeah.
they might go back and watch the animated just to kind of get it filled out. You know what
True.
I mean?
True. Yeah. I could see that. Look, I'm cool with whatever they make. If they make a good story, I'm gonna watch it regardless.
Yeah.
Just don't make it like the animation of what was that? What was that thing on YouTube? Destiny or something?
Forces of Destiny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I wasn't a fan of that. But I mean, I guess that was catered to kids, so it's different. But
Yeah, they've
like
definitely tried some weird stuff.
they were adding
Yeah.
stuff with Luke in there that we had never seen before with Luke and Yoda, and I was like, this is really cool, but I'd love it if this animation was maybe a little higher quality, or if it
Yeah.
was live action. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, and I do think that Resistance sort of showed us, because I don't know if you really liked Resistance, but like I
I,
just
I
couldn't.
didn't get to watch it. I mean, well, now that it's on Disney Plus, I can watch it, but I just don't really have interest.
I couldn't get there. I gave it what I consider to be a pretty fair shake of like 4 episodes, and I was just like, and hey, it is what it is, but it's not for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think as Star Wars fans, especially under Disney, it's like there's this kind of realization that like, okay, well, maybe not all of this content is now going to be for me anymore. You
Look,
know what I mean?
we were raised. Look, our dad as a kid was George Lucas. All right, so him and mom divorced, and now we got Disney is the new dad. They came in, and obviously the house rules are changed now, and they don't fly with us anymore, really. So a lot
I'm
of the
not gonna call you dad.
yeah, yeah. Come here, son. We're gonna have a great time. No, it's like,
Oh,
just some things are gonna be cool, but you're never gonna be dad. So at the end of the day, I mean, I'll enjoy it if it's a great movie or story or whatever it is. But it'll never be Pops. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Do you think they'd ever get that guy to come back? Like, because I thought, here's what I think they should have done in the wake of the sequel trilogy. I felt like if they would have just got John, Dave, and George in a room and literally just said, don't come out of this room until you guys have an idea of what the future of Star Wars looks like. And then they come out, and whatever they have is treated like gospel. Whatever comes out of that room, it's like Moses walking down the mountain.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
this is the problem. This is the problem that George always had from the beginning, is that he said, when you have companies and corporations and studios meddling in your work and your stories, they change how it's actually supposed to be. So, case in point, Disney with the sequel trilogy and what he wanted and this and that, and he was upset when he said, I offered them my treatment and I had an outline for everything, and they didn't want to take that. So whatever, that's fine. So it's exactly what he said with what he did by funding, the prequels and then eventually the originals, is now happening. So it is what it is.
But do you think he'd come back, or?
Well, he's on the set of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll ever come back, but I think he'll be involved.
I hope so. And even if it was just for namesake or whatever, you know what I mean? Or I think, like, honestly, man, like, he strikes me as the kind of guy that, like, if you did have, like, first of all, his love of Dave is awesome and, a really, really cool kind of thing. But, like, I think even with John and stuff, like, if there was this kind of, like, realness of, like, because, just being real, we don't know for sure, but we can assume that George feels a certain way about what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you could come to him sort of like on a man-to-man basis and just be like, hey, man, like, it would really go a long way to fixing things
Yeah.
if you sat down with us and we, kind of came up with some ideas and then you co-signed them. I think that would be great. And yeah, do you think that could that appeal to him or?
I think I think he's done, dude. I think he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really do. I don't think he wants any part of it anymore. I think he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I mean, it's weird because like I agree with you, but I also like
I
can't
don't
help.
want to agree with myself, but
Yeah, well, I can't help but have this hope that like at the end of the
oh,
day,
I always got hope.
yeah, like he could like sort of come around and turn that around. And I think another thing that we wanted to get into was the Disney the D23 delay,
Right.
right?
Okay.
And so this is the Disney convention, their SDCC, their San Diego Comic-Con, and they've delayed, and the next D23 will not be until 2022. And
It's a long time.
Marvel keeps shifting stuff around. Star Wars already delayed their films, et cetera, et cetera. What do you think about this delay? I guess when it comes to Star Wars, like what do you make of this?
Um, I can understand that they can't film anything right now because of COVID and all that stuff. I can understand everything's being pushed back. Um, it's a world issue and it's not something that's just them, and I can get why they're doing this. But I think this opens up a lot of room and opportunity for them to seek other avenues, such as animations. So there's a ton of possibilities and things that they could do right now that don't require you to necessarily film with a big crew, but rather maybe, ship out supercomputers to the homes of all the people that you would want to create, that you have hired to create CGI productions and things like that. Then it'll work. It'll happen. Just have a Zoom meeting and, you go to work 8 hours a day and you're done. And send it through. I mean, it'll take a little longer, but at least it'll get done.
Yeah.
So where one door closes, another one opens. And I am sure that they're doing things on that side of the spectrum, I hope. So I'm excited to see what will be announced in the next year or so.
Yeah, no, I mean, I echo a lot of your sentiments. I think the one thing that I thought of immediately was, well, that's kind of wild because they delayed Celebration to 2022 like months ago, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's kind of weird. Like, kind of seems like they might have more or less had a pushback strategy even back then. But I like what you're saying about the animated stuff for sure. I think just in general, though, more planning and more like just tightening up what this future looks like, because I really think they're at a very critical place, and sort of like Bob Iger sort of echoed this when he was on the red carpet for the Rise premiere. He talked about how important Rise was, but he also talked about how important the next film was, knowing full well that like that next movie is, I mean, especially in the wake of the sequel trilogy, but even if the sequel trilogy had gone off without a hitch, it's still George's story, more or less. That's the Skywalker saga. So it's like, okay, Disney, what do you got now? So I think it's weird to say, but the pandy, I've been calling it the pandy. The pandy in some ways could actually have hit Star Wars at a place that could actually end up being very beneficial. They were already in a 3-year hiatus, right? So they're already in this hiatus. They're clearly reinvestigating what the plan is, what the strategy should be.
Yeah.
So, look, pushing everything back to not next year, but the year after, like, does that suck? Absolutely. But, they've got some of the shows are already established and going. If Filoni verse is absolutely real, that's going to carry us all the way to, whenever the next movie is now.
Yeah.
Like when is it? 2024 or something?
2023, I think. I don't even know. My question is, if this is all being pushed back, then what are we going to get after Mando? For like freaking 2 years almost.
Well, you got Obi-Wan hopefully ready to rock soon, right? You've got...
Well, they haven't even started filming, though.
No, they haven't started filming, no. But there's all the Filoni-verse verse shows, right? So there's the Ahsoka show, there's the Ezra Bridger Thrawn show, there's a Boba Fett show apparently, and so those shows can all be developed, especially if they're developed using the volume technology. I mean, those things are much more shootable than a big blockbuster movie right
What's the
now.
volume technology? What is that?
The volume is that thing they use in The Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the sound stage with the screens, and it's video game technology, so it live renders in.
Okay, so what they're going to be using for Vader Episode 2?
Yeah,
What?
well, yeah, I'm
What?
sure.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry. What? I don't know.
yeah. I'm sure. You know some people that know some things about
I don't
that
know.
tech.
I
Yeah,
don't know, man.
yeah.
So we got some few supers. Jill's a new member. Thanks. Alpha Wolf, I appreciate all you've done to make me think harder about the Star Wars universe. Thanks. Oh, it's our pleasure. What's up, Josh? In theory, I was on the morning stream, Josh. Loving these combined streams. You had a morning stream today?
Oh yeah, no, I stream on my live streaming channel Monday through Friday, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, a lot of the people that liked us last week or whatever have been popping up on those. So yeah, it's been pretty cool. I appreciate it.
I love how you have like a concise time. I'm so bad with streaming on my gaming channel. I don't think I've really streamed for like 2 weeks, played a game or anything. I got to get a schedule going and fix my sleep. When I texted Josh today, it was like 5 a.m. and he was just waking up, and I'm like, "Good night, man. See you
I
later.
know, it was funny though. I was like, hey, look,
See you in 12 hours."
yeah, I'll see you in 12 hours. It's all good, man.
Sup, y'all? Did you guys hear the Saber Girls rumors? They said Ezra, Ray, and Ben are gonna have an adventure in the WPW. I know nothing about that.
World Between Worlds.
What are
I've
the Saber
seen
Girls?
Girls with Saber. There's Girls with Sabers. There's their YouTube channel out there.
Okay.
They make a lot of like Raylo content.
Okay.
So
Shout
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Okay. They said Ezra, Ray, and Ben are gonna have an adventure in the World Between Worlds.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, that'd be sweet. I don't see any evidence for that.
I don't like the World Between Worlds. Bugs me.
Well, you know about that JJ stuff, right? For episode 9, how he almost used it.
Something like something about Palpatine going
Was
in
it
like
in
some mirror world or something. Or
Yeah,
what.
was that in Trevorrow's script? Was the World Between World in Trevorrow's script?
Not that I remember.
Okay.
By the way,
Yeah.
animating Trevorrow's parts of Trevorrow's script coming out this Friday, so make sure you stay tuned. Kylo goes to Mustafar. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
Same animation that you guys saw in the animation from a few days ago, which all of you seemingly really liked, which is great. I'm gonna do more of those. Do you think Ahsoka's blue saber could actually be Luke's recovered from Bespin?
I mean, I think
It's interesting.
I think she had a pair of blue ones from Anakin, and I think she only dropped one at the end of Clone Wars season 7. So I think she still has one.
She still has one, but she could be using Luke's. That'd be kind of
She
cool.
absolutely could. Yeah, it would be crazy. And then she like hands it to Maz Kanata or something.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
So the weird story with that, if you guys don't know, is that in the new canon comics, Luke went back there and he was searching with Ugnaughts, trying to find his saber, and he eventually finds it, and then he just like throws it away. And he's like, "Oh, I don't know how I feel about this anymore. Like, a Jedi doesn't need a weapon. Blah blah blah. This is linked to my father. I hate my father," which I understand, but like
So he
like
had
make
a
like
kind of
ma-
little
like
emo
like
moment.
make up your minds. Like does a Jedi's weapon deserve more respect, or are we just gonna keep throwing it away? Like, just let me know.
Yeah.
I gotta know.
Well, and not just that,
And then
but
goes
like
off to make his
the
own green one. It's like,
right. Well,
all
it's
right,
the character too, right? It's not just that they're messing that lightsaber thing up. It's also like you're messing up this character. Like, and I get like moments of doubt and like things
absolutely.
like that.
That's what creates a character. You can't be linear.
Mm.
Have you seen the lightsaber revealed from the High Republic? Yeah, you mean the one that I bought?
yeah. I saw it. Yeah.
The Revan one.
No, they're talking High Republic. Like
That one with the
yeah.
cross guard and like the lightning or something going around it or
Yeah,
something like.
looks cool, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
I want it.
Regarding this Vong rumor, what if Ezra realizes he needs Maul and saves him from his fate in the World Between Worlds?
Nah, man.
Nah, this world between worlds thing is it can be very dangerous.
Yeah, they can't be using that flippantly. In fact, they should probably never use it again.
No. So what do you think? Vader actually beat Ahsoka in that duel?
Absolutely.
Because I mean, when he left, he was all damaged and stuff. But then we get the daughter flying up overhead.
Yeah, so my take on it was that when Ezra pulled her out, that blow was a kill blow. That was a kill shot. And yeah, she would not have survived that blow, in my opinion.
So he changed history, I guess.
Not really, no. Because it was always gonna happen that way. It's not that is the history. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like
So we're not creating
no, it's not all. This is an Avengers.
Back to the
You
Future.
know what I mean? Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Did you ever see the full Star Wars Rebels episodes? Last live stream with Mark, you said you didn't see them all yet. No, I still have not seen them all yet. I have to, though. And I will do it before Mando comes out. What's up, boys? Glad to see you guys on the stream tonight. It's been a quiet week, content-wise. Theory, sort of missing the gaming streams, but hope you've been good. Bro, Nick, what the hell you mean it's been quiet? I uploaded 2 fanfictions. One of them was a crazy animation that took like 2 weeks. What are you talking about? Give me a hard time here. But yeah, I'll be streaming tonight. Rayman, thanks. Kenneth, thanks. Callista says, this was something that I was thinking about since I watched Return of the Jedi and wanted both of your opinions on it. Would you want a Yoda miniseries from the end of Revenge of the Sith all the way to Empire Strikes Back or early Return of the Jedi? I don't know. The thing with Yoda is that I like him to stay a mystical character.
Yeah, me too.
You know? As much as I love the Mando and what they're doing, I just don't want it to answer too many questions, almost. Yeah. I still want him to be this, like, mystical wizard that comes and goes, as George said.
Yeah, I agree with that. I co-sign that.
With the Filoniverse, do you think the fandom will slowly come back together to the point where where no one is called a shill, or do you think it will stay this way from now on? There's always going to be hate, man. There's always going to be people that brand people. Whether they are or they're not, I don't care. Just, yeah.
Yeah, and like I think that the Filoniverse being excellent will obviously help the situation in the fandom.
100%.
And I think the thing about what I view, like my whole thing is this: if the Filoniverse and the future of Star Wars is absolutely incredible, and you still got some buttholes out there that are like taking shots and trying to find an angle and digging up friggin' interviews from 2016 and you know that kind of bullcrap, like then it'll be much easier to separate the wheat from the chaff, and we'll be like, okay, so you were a hater the whole time. Yeah. Please exit.
Yeah, I guess then we'll know, right? So
yeah.
Hey guys, you were both my favorite YouTubers, especially you, Theory. Thanks, man.
Yeah, right.
That's mean. You, Theory. But one question: do you think Star Wars Episode 3 is the best of the saga? Tell me why and who is your favorite character. My favorite character is a toss-up between Anakin and Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon because he goes against the grain. You know, he is a Jedi, but he doesn't really just blindly follow them and lead into politics, which is what they're all becoming. And he follows the will of the Force, which is really what Jedi are all about. And Anakin, because he's badass, you know, and he's got a great story arc. So,
yeah, for sure. What about Rael Avaros?
The cowboy.
Yeah, dude. Like from
from Dooku Jedi Lost.
No,
from Master and Apprentice. Yeah.
That dude,
I love him,
need to
dude.
See a live action series.
I love him.
Him and Lando.
He's cool. You know who I picture when I was reading that? I don't know his name. You've seen Roadhouse?
Yeah.
His name was Sam. His character was Sam on the show, I think, on the movie.
Is he one of the bouncers?
Like the coolest voice, yeah.
Yeah, he's the dude that the sarsaparilla
salt
dude
and pepper
from,
hair, long hair.
Yeah. He's the dude in the Big Lebowski that offers him the sarsaparilla, right?
Yeah, let me bring him up here. He's got a great deep voice, kind of like this. Real good voice.
Yeah, it's real grizzly
like.
Yeah. That dude would be awesome as.
Check it out, guys. Oh, wait.
Man, I'd love to see a series with like him and Lando just going on a bender, dude. Just death sticks, just like the whole thing, man.
Yeah. Yeah, see that's him. That's what he looks like. That's what I see when I think of Rail.
Yep, that's the guy. Oh my God, and the hair from Roadhouse is perfect.
Yeah, dude, that's
That's
him,
perfect.
100%.
Yeah,
No
yeah, for
doubt.
sure.
That was a great book. I feel like they're killing it with the books. The comics are cool. Um, yeah, now the shows are doing great. So,
Yeah, we'll get there, man. They
yeah,
do need to nail these movies, but I think they know they need to nail the movies, and hopefully they have a big list of things they did wrong that they can reference, right? So,
well, the issue I think is that they have there's too many people. There's too many cooks in the
hmm
kitchen. Get one guy writing the story. Get
yeah,
the Lucasfilm story group to check it over. And I hear now, people from Lucasfilm have emailed me plenty of times. Who knows if they're legit or not? But let's say they are. And they've said the whole company is now like divided between people who have been hired by Disney ever since they came in there, and the OG Lucasfilm. And apparently, there's a huge conflict of beliefs and ideologies when it comes to these characters and this and that, and how they're handled.
yeah.
Fair enough, I can believe that. Um,
Yeah, I mean, to me, that doesn't seem too far from what you might encounter at any major studio, like,
yeah.
and especially with big IP.
Hmm.
So, like DC, for instance, there's this big thing between like, a presumed like Jeff Johns camp and then the Zack Snyder camp, right? And like that whole thing. So, I mean, this is not unique to Star Wars, but I think that the thing about Star Wars is like winning solves everything, and they're just not winning in the ways they need to quell all the little things, because there's
Right.
always going to be friction. Like anybody out there that's like Dave Filoni needs to be in charge, and then we'll never lose another director, and there'll never be a bump in the road, and Pedro Pascal will be really nice and put the helmet on. Like if you think that just one guy getting a job and one lady not having a job is going to make the difference in that regard, you're wrong.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that that we shouldn't have better leadership. I think we deserve better leadership.
Yeah.
But I worry about this like sort of cultish, like, oh man, she's got to go, and once she does, everything's gonna be fine. Like that's not really
No, it should be
necessarily
someone
true.
else like her to take her place. That's what a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
Appointed
I
someone
mean,
already, right?
yeah, she's. Oh man, I'll tell you some stuff off air about that
Okay.
that I can't say right now. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, wild speculation time. We're gonna have count 'em, three new Jedi orders. Mace Windu students he is telling his story in his shows. Rey's order. Finally, Ahsoka and Ezra order with a Cal and Jason thoughts. Mace Windu students. Mace Windu students as he is telling them a story, kind of like a. What is that? What is that show that I always used to watch?
How I Met Your Mother, probably, right?
No. It's like 90s. Like, I forgot. It's like Forbidden of the Midnight Society, blah, 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 and then they throw the sand in the fire. Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, okay.
Are You Afraid of the Dark? I feel like that's like he's sitting around the campfire, just like telling stories of the good old days. Well, not really the good old days, but
Yeah,
um,
right.
yeah, it could be cool. Look,
Dude,
I'm
I'd
down
love
with it.
that, man.
Yeah.
I've wanted for a long time different sects of Jedi. I think one of the most intriguing aspects of some of the Old Republic stuff was the different Jedi. And then you had, like, during the Vong War, you had, like, dark Jedi that had to align themselves with the Jedi. You know what I mean? And,
Hmm.
like, there's all this sorts of. I love that stuff. And that's, like, some of the flavor of Game of Thrones is the different houses, and then like the real badasses from each house, right? So like when you see Eddard Stark like in his prime fighting, I forget the dude at the tower, Game of Thrones fans are gonna flame me, but
Yeah.
the guy with the two swords or whatever, like when you see those moments, it's like, oh my god, like this guy, it's the Stark's guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus like, their guy. That kind of stuff would be so cool to see with some Jedi sprinklings or whatever.
Hey, Theory, hope you're doing great. Excited to find out if this live action is true. Also, I wanted to ask, where is Mark? Is he safe? Is he all right? Mark's doing great, man. He's just super busy with a project right now for his business, and he'll be back sometime late next month. So, yeah, and then maybe we could all do like 3 of us or something like that. It'd be fun.
That'd be hot. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I love Mark, man. Mark's a great dude.
He is. I love him. By the way, how cool was the Hound in Game of Thrones?
He was pretty freaking
He was
phenomenal,
my
dude.
favorite.
And that's
His
one
insults.
of the only things they did right in the last season was giving us Clegane Bowl.
Mm.
with him and his brother fighting.
Yep.
It's like one of the only
Who
things they
looked
did
like
right.
freaking Vader.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Quick opinion-related question. If it were up to you, would you make The Last Jedi Luke's movie or Rey's? Well, it was Rey's. It was Rey's movie. I don't think it was Luke's. Rey was the main character of the sequels.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And fair enough, but, just change Luke's story around. Make it right, Great stream. Ahsoka lost both her blue sabers. She loses one on the ship while escaping and drops the other one on the clone graves. No sabers end Clone Wars.
Interesting. Okay, I'll have to verify that.
She did, yeah. She lost them.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's pretty wild. Then I think something like what you described then would have to take place then for her to have a
Luke's
blue
saber? Luke's blue one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luke. Yeah.
Maybe. What's your guys' favorite Star Wars Legends content, games, books, stories, etc.? Darth Plagueis novel for me.
I like the damn, yeah, that's a really good one. That is an incredible book. If you haven't read it, do yourself a favor and check that out. But I'm really fond of the old Jedi comic
Like
books.
the first ones?
Yeah, Dawn of the Jedi, where they showed like the Rakatan Empire, the Force Hounds, and then like the Ashla and the Bogon. And I remember there's only one character that had a saber at that point. The rest of them used like either swords or staffs that they like infused the Force with or whatever. Yeah, that series was really cool. So I like that a lot.
Do you like the idea of the Sith bleeding their crystals now, or did you like the synthetic?
I like both. I think the bleeding thing feels a little bit more, I guess, right.
Legit,
Although it's a very Sith thing to feel as though you can recreate something better than the Force. You know what I mean? So that's a very Sith thing. So, and you know what? Why couldn't we still have both? Like, why couldn't we have, like, for instance, maybe some synthetic reds that just maybe aren't as strong or whatever?
Or maybe they're more powerful because you got to meditate on them and.
Yeah. But bleeding is cool, man, and the purifying and like the Kyber being sort of sentient and like singing is cool. I like that. It's a pretty good new addition to canon, in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree. Have you addressed the Pedro rumors? Sorry if you have. I don't believe them. There are pics of him and Filoni smiling together from a few days ago.
Oh, man, can I speak on that? Can I speak on that?
Yeah.
So here's the thing about those photos, and I'm not gonna get upset. It is what it is. But I can't believe people think that those photos in that Instagram post that Pedro made were from any time recently. Like,
they're old.
They're old photos. They're from late last year at the earliest. And so I'm not saying that the Pedro story is real, but I can't stand it when people say, well, he posted photos of them finishing the set. No, he did not. 3 days before that, Ludwig posted the actual photographs of him finishing the scoring, which the scoring for this show is going super late. But that's because of the pandy, right? So, like, look, I get people, and I'm not trying to be that guy, but, like, it's frustrating that people would say that's evidence that the story is not true. It simply is not.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, look, if it's true, that's bullshit, I mean, the guy should know that he's being paid to do a job, and he's still the star of it. And the story's not about, his face. It's about the show. It's about telling the character. And if it's not true, well, great, but I don't want to buy into it. I don't want to believe it. I don't know if it's true. I did get an email, actually. I did get an email from someone who wanted to remain anonymous. They said that they worked with him in early 2000s at the New York Theater or something like that, at a theater in New York.
Okay.
And they said he was very much... I don't really want to say this.
Well, it's probably similar to what I said about JJ last week, right? And like I actually like meditated on that a little bit, and like you were right, like when you kind of hit me with the like where did you hear that from? And it's true. Like it's hard to you don't necessarily want to.
Who knows? It could be some dude completely BSing, or it could be very very legitimate and someone that actually did work with him at the New York Theater,
or he just had a bad day. You know what I mean? Like so. Yeah,
they said he's a very nice guy, but he is kind of a diva or something. So
I mean, is that really that hard to believe? You know what I mean? Like all these Hollywood guys to me are probably at least a little bit of that. You know what I mean? Like
I don't
it's
know. I
yeah.
haven't come into contact with actors really. I mean, my only experience is with the fan film, and like
Yeah.
that's it. So
Yeah. I feel you. I feel you. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
Uh,
hopefully either way they work it out. I
look,
actually had a guy
yeah,
that told me that like it was all good. He was like, "Yeah, it's real, but it's resolved. They've got it figured out." So hopefully that's
okay.
the case, and it's a whole lot to do about nothing. You
And
know?
look, maybe it's totally, we're incorrect. We don't have the proper information. Maybe there was something in his contract that said, okay, my face is going to be seen this many times, and they're not honoring that. Who knows? I have no
Right.
idea. I just give me a good show.
Yeah, for sure,
You
dude.
know. Do you follow the Halo games? No, not really. I played them. Do you think the movie made what? Do you think they made a movie based off the games? Do you think Harrison Ford would be great as Captain Keyes? I don't know enough about Halo, so but I would love to see Harrison Ford in pretty much anything.
Yeah, he'd be good. He'd be good as Captain Keach. But
Oh, you know Halo?
oh, I love Halo. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so
But
how do you feel about that?
I mean, Captain Keys, to me, like that's not even that's a cool character, and I get why that, but that's not really the what would be important to the story in a lot of ways. But yeah, no, he'd be good in that role. It's more about like the Spartans. Cortana obviously would be the probably most important casting choice,
Yeah.
and then the aliens, the prophets, and the elites and stuff like that. So
When's the new one coming out?
who knows, man? Probably they probably want it out in the first quarter of next year. So
Did you get an Xbox
no, I'm not getting a new Xbox, and
or a
yeah,
PS5?
I'm not getting a new console until, I mean, apparently they're gonna be. When I talked to the guy at GameStop, he was like, yeah, well, just because of Corona and all that, like, the manufacturing is like really small levels of manufacturing, because you got to think about most of the stuff's either assembled or
Yeah.
has parts coming out of China, right?
True. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the supply is gonna be pretty short, but I'm good. I'm Gucci. I'm gonna get Squadrons for my PC, and yeah, I'm gonna just kind of be playing that. And there's a bunch of other games that I play. The Master Chief Collection is dope. So yeah.
I wanted to get a PS5 and an Xbox, but I sold out, man.
Yep.
Put my name on
Yep.
the waiting list. They never called me.
Yeah. I mean, I would do both too, but honestly, I'd probably get the PS5 first.
Same. Yeah.
Just because like, and the thing that's funny is like I'm actually more of an Xbox guy,
Yeah.
but it seems like Xbox doesn't really care if you get that new console or not. They're more into like the Game Pass and
If you got a
like
PC, you got an
right.
Xbox. You got a
Yeah,
better
pretty
Xbox
much.
than anything. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah. No, I got a great PC. I'm just gonna probably roll with that, and then I'll get the PS5 whenever I can. Hopefully. I hope by the end of Mandalorian we see him become the Mandalore. Ezra and Ahsoka take the child to train as a Jedi, and we see Thrawn and the Grisk. Could you imagine? The child becomes a Jedi. Jesus.
I'd love it, dude. I would absolutely
A
love it.
Mando Jedi.
Yeah, dude, of course. Give him the Darksaber. Like that would be disgusting, man. Like just whipping around, like doing all that. What do you think is, I feel like such a dad, but like, what do you think his first words are gonna be? Mando? Is he gonna pop a little Mando? Make us all cry at the end.
Jedi.
That'd be great, dude. That'd be great. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Or maybe it's gonna be something very shocking, like Sith.
Yeah, right. Exactly, right.
Yeah.
Dark side, and then he's
Dark
like
side.
choking. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I
Wouldn't
mean,
be
he has the
surprising.
propensity for it. He did
Choke Cara Dune.
yeah, man. He choked the crap out of her.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
Do you think Palpatine would have been different if his father treated him better? Nah.
No, dude, no way. Especially if you read that Plagueis book. Like
Yeah.
this was truly an insidious creature.
Yeah. He
from
killed
the-
his dad.
from the jump. Yeah, man.
He killed his whole family.
Ruthlessly. And it was Hugo. Remember, Hugo tells him the story of how he killed his family.
Mm.
And that's what sets Sheev off in
Yeah.
the early parts of that book.
Yeah.
And then like you kind of realize that like Hugo didn't really kill his whole family, dude.
Like Palpatine's just this sadistic, psychotic, and it was kind of cool. How it's like the first time he used his Force powers too when he killed him.
Yeah.
And he's just like floating in the air and then just, slam into the door.
That book is incredible.
It's amazing. I would love to see a movie made from that book, and one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to animate the crap out of it because I just want to see those things come to life.
Well, and frankly, more people, if you do that, I think a lot of people will have at least a part of that experience, via your video as compared to how many people are actually going to read that whole thing, or you know what I mean?
That's the thing. It's not getting as much love as it should. So I hope maybe it'll entice people to go buy the book.
Interesting. Yeah, that's that's nice.
Yeah. So, what color lightsabers will Ahsoka have? Also, hello. She'll have blue, apparently, according to
that's
the
the word.
Yeah. Here's a question for you, Josh. What dates do you expect the Bad Batch to come out?
Bad Batch. That's a good question. I don't know. If I was told that, I don't remember. And I'm guessing they want it first quarter next year. But also part of this was with the Rebel sequel series. What we thought was happening was that they were going to announce it and then have it spin out from Mando into that animated show, which would have been like brilliant. Like imagine like episode 3 of The Mandalorian, you see the Rebels crew essentially pop up in live action. And then literally after the show, Disney's like, oh, by the way, a new animated show made by Dave Filoni with that exact crew that you just saw. Like, boom, here you go. But kind of like I said, like still really don't know what's going on with that. So yeah, as far as Bad Batch, I don't know. I'm guessing early next year probably.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's animated, so it's probably going to be easier to make with COVID.
Yeah,
I'd assume.
100%.
Imagine if James Earl Jones acted the way these rumors say Pedro is. Oh yeah, show my face.
Well, also I want to be there and be, you know what I mean? I think that's part of it too, was that I got to be honest, like I think, well, it's possible that maybe he just felt a certain way about everybody kind of dogging him for not being in the suit all that much, because I remember like a lot of people in the commentary community were basically like kind of dogging him a little bit. You know what I mean? When you find out that there's not one but two, maybe even 3 different body doubles that rotated in.
Really? Were there?
Mm-hmm. And then if you watch the gallery thing, there's a lot of like when they asked Gina about acting with Pedro, she literally more or less says, I actually didn't act directly across with Pedro all that much. She literally said that. And it's like, oh, interesting. So I don't know. Maybe he just personally felt a certain way about that, and he wanted just a little more street cred or whatever. And he's like, nah, I need to be there and be in the suit or whatever. So I don't know.
Yeah, no one knows. It's a rumor. So where was this rumor originated from? Do you know?
I believe, this one, as far as I know, started with Grace Randolph. So when
who is this Grace Randolph? Because I've seen her, I've retweeted her a couple times. I have no idea who she is. I saw that she works for some company or like some media company, right? So I was like, okay, well maybe she would know something.
Yeah, so she's a film critic. She's a YouTuber. She's been in the film YouTubing community for a long, long time. She's like one of the OGs with like Jeremy Johns and like, John Campia and like
Love
that
Jeremy
sort of
Johns.
crew. Yeah. So she kind of started around that same time, I think when Stuckman got started too. But she has a lot of sources. She has a lot of stories. She gets a lot of crap. It's funny. Like I think honestly anybody in the scooping game gets a lot of crap, and I have a lot of scooper friends, like a lot of friends that are scoopers, and it's such a like Game of Thrones kind of thing, man. Where like because other scoopers are technically incentivized to discredit you because that improves their like validity.
Yeah.
You're right. So it's like the really weird game of like.
No, like, you mean like other Star Wars YouTubers?
Yeah, I mean the shitty ones, I guess. yeah. That's I think so. I guess with the Grace thing though, I think she's pretty reliable. There are only 2 scoops in her history that like sort of still to this day sort of confound me, and I just can't tell if she just took a huge L or whatever. But she's actually, as far as I can tell, pretty spot on with most things. And then when that story came out, I reached out to some people, and I got some people saying, like it happened, but it's all good. I had basically like it was more or less pretty evident that at least part of what she was saying was true because he definitely wanted his face seen more. Like that's not even debatable. Like I know from some of the best sources I have that he absolutely wanted seen more outside of the helmet, right?
Okay.
But that's not really that much of a stretch to
Fair
me. I'm
enough.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and so some people said that like that happened and then it got resolved, and they were like, yeah, so she's probably reporting on something that happened over a year ago. But I'm not so sure about that because as much as I love like some of the people I'm in contact with, they're definitely jaded in being pro Disney in a lot of ways. So like I have to try to filter the info I get through that lens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always got to find a neutral source, someone who's not pro Disney, someone who's not anti Disney, right?
Yeah.
Someone who's just
Yeah.
it is what it is. Like this is the fact. This is the scoop.
Yeah. And I always like to just look at like sort of the patterns between the people that I trust and what are they saying? What's everybody saying that's the same? And then
Yeah.
where are the differences in what they're reporting? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I missed your old super chat about Thrawn. I'm sorry. You think that Disney would eventually try to reboot any of the Star Wars movies, kind of like Batman movies, where someone different comes in the creators, or no,
Mm-mm.
no? That was something in
Mm-mm.
the contract, right? That they can never remake Episode 1 to 6.
Yeah, and they can't. I don't think they can even touch them as far as from the version that George gave them. Now,
Yeah.
what was awesome was the McClunky thing. Apparently, he did that in like 2009. Like George put McClunky into that thing like in 2009, and it's in a cut he had that he was eventually going to release, and he never did. But that's the cut he gave to Disney for Disney Plus.
Really?
Yeah, that's the story. That yeah, like he he had done that a long time ago, and they must have known. But then again, like it's Disney, so maybe they didn't know.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Grace is Josh's queen.
Oh yeah, who said that?
Also,
Who's
Xbox sucks. The Godfather.
Yes, Godfather. How you doing, brother? Yeah. So it's like a running joke on my streams that I simp for Grace.
Oh, nice.
Uh,
You guys, how
yeah.
long have you
So,
guys been going out?
man, like I don't really like to talk about that publicly. You know, we try to keep that, behind closed
You gonna
doors.
propose?
But man, it's tough out there, man. You know, in this economy and just
Yeah, true.
looking forward and stuff. It's so.
True. Well, hey, wish you guys the best. He says also
Thanks,
Xbox sucks.
Yeah, he would say that.
Have you seen the crew trying to crowdfund a live-action Shadows of the Empire movie? It's on Indiegogo at the moment, still funding.
Whoa, that sounds cool. Did you see that animated?
Everyone's funding their fan films now and getting away with it.
Yeah. Well, some people.
While
some
Poppy's
people
over
don't
here
have-
just like paying out everything he
Yeah,
can.
dude, just eating it. Well,
Oh god!
yeah,
And then
it's
getting
not like-
copyrighted on top of it, and then getting
Right.
called shill on top of it, and then getting called a Disney hater on top of it, and it's like, god damn
well,
it!
I'll
give me a
say this:
break.
at least it didn't create a rift between. Yeah, that was a bad joke.
A rift
but,
between me and Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
eh.
Yo, that fan film's dope.
It's another
I showed,
story for another time.
Bruh, I showed one of my buddies that fan film, and they like literally the reaction that he had is probably also the crux of a lot of your issues with the film. But he immediately was like, "You're
Mine?
telling me a fan can do this, and Disney gave us what they gave us?" And that's his reaction. I think that's the reaction for a lot of people out there when they see that movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Looking at it now, it was 2 years later. It was great for the time, but you evolve as a person, a storyteller, and a filmmaker, and this and that, if you can even call me that. And there are just so many things that I cringe at now, and that I would change. And
So you're like George, man. You go back and tweak it. It's your thing, man.
like a remastered, like
Yeah,
a
or
revised.
add randomly add
Yeah,
Boba
there's
Fett,
actually
and
tons of stuff I could do now.
that'd be kind of cool.
Oh,
Why not?
interesting. Gave me an idea.
Yeah, and then you could potentially even say screw it and monetize that one. But
Nah,
yeah.
nah.
I wanted to say this too. I saw your fan fiction animation, which I thought was incredible. But I just couldn't help like sort of doing my own headcanon of the ending. So I think after that all went down, it would be possible that the Republic would outlaw Jedi and Sith alike, and that they would essentially say, "All right, no more Jedi," right?
Mm.
And then you could have the remnants of the Jedi sort of um, teaching in secret, and then like maybe even the Republic army was literally on the lookout for Force sensitives, and they would like throw them in jail or whatever.
Yeah, it's cool, but I mean, after you have documentation that this Sith Lord massacred children and people in their sleep, I feel like they'd
They'd want the Jedi.
be like, "Oh, well, thanks for cleaning up the streets. I appreciate it."
Yeah, that's true. But you'd have to think. I think Sheev was a pretty effective propagandist, right? I mean, he
Mhm.
does essentially turn the whole galaxy against the Jedi in the canon that we have.
Mhm.
So it's not necessarily so far fetched that. I mean, my thing is,
But the way he did
'cause-
this, to cut you off right there,
no, it's all good.
the way he did this was that he in the book, did you read the book
Which
Revenge of the Sith?
no, I
So
no.
when the Jedi came to attack him, what we didn't see in the film is that he actually hit a button under his desk and started to it cut out
Record?
the live feed, it cut out the visual recording, and just put in the audio recording. And he started saying crap like, "Oh no, please don't kill me. I'm just a politician. I'm just here to like save the blah blah blah. And, like, don't do
Yeah.
this, please." And then he would like kill one of them and like wink at them, and then he would and then he'd be like, "No, please don't hurt me." Things like that. And then he presented that to the Senate,
Yeah, it
and
makes sense.
they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, like."
I mean, that's not so far from what happens in the film, anyways, though, because like technically,
The
like when
attack
he's
on
making
my life has left me
exactly
scarred
right,
and deformed.
exactly, and people were like, these Jedi gotta go."
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I would always, I don't know, I've always thought that'd be a cool idea. Like, what if even the Jedi themselves are being hunted, not by the Empire, not by the Sith, but just by normal people that fear them, almost like the mutants,
Like
you do like
Frankenstein and the villagers. Yeah.
do like an X-Men thing with the Jedi. I think that'd be kind of cool.
That'd be neat.
Yeah.
And then what? The Jedi and Sith team up because they're like, "All right, well, they hate us anyway, so let's just kick all their asses."
Well, that would be the thing, right? There'd clearly be some Jedi out there that would resent that, right,
Mhm.
from the Republic.
Mhm.
And so perhaps you could see some of them being like, "Well, what do these stupid non-force sensitives know anyways?"
Yeah,
You know
true.
what I mean? And then they start kind of going down that Voldemort, thing
Yeah,
where they're like,
these Muggles.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could see a new birth of the Sith from that, and then like it would be awesome because the Sith could come back and be a serious threat, and then the Republic would need to be saved by the Jedi that they hate, which is a very X-Men thing. Like I mean, like feels very X-Men, but like I love that. That's a
Did you
cool
see the
vibe.
boys? Did you see Iceman was
Yeah,
Lamplighter? Isn't that
yeah,
funny?
it is pretty
Isn't
funny.
that
It,
freaking
yeah,
funny?
yeah,
I
yeah. That
was
show's
like,
wild, dude.
one of my favorite shows.
You watch Raised by Wolves?
No.
Bro,
Is it good?
yeah, oh, yeah. I think it's way better than The Boys, to be honest with you.
Really?
Oh yeah, and
Amazon
I love
Prime?
The Boys. No, yeah, no, it's HBO Max.
Oh, okay.
But the first episode is on YouTube for free, so just check it. It's directed by Ridley Scott. It is a science fiction sort of dystopian future show, and I think it's the best show on television. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Raised by Wolves?
Yeah, man,
Okay.
it's good.
Cool. We're over 60 minutes now. I don't know, you want to call it?
Yeah, man, we can definitely call it. Yeah, for sure.
Got a couple more messages here. What up? Wanted to give you an update on the Mando jar I'm making. Finally able to make the studio again. Wasn't able to be in the studio for a few days, but it's looking great so far. That's awesome. Tag me on Instagram. Happy to see you when it's done and the process. Hey Theory, thanks for amazing content. Thank you for the videos, and I recently started a YouTube channel just because you inspired me to follow my dreams. That's great, man. Star Wars Behind the Galaxy. Keep going with it. Hello from UK. Love you both. What do you think is the future of Star Wars gaming? What should the next story be about? Ooh, that's a good question.
Mm.
What do you think?
Well,
I want to see Fallen Order 2.
Well, yeah, that would be dope. But I think they have to figure out what they're doing with the movies first. Like, they need to figure out that lane, because at the end of the day, this is another thing that's kind of crazy, is the problems with the sequel trilogy also showed up in video games, in the sense that, like, we didn't get any, basically. So, like, they kept killing stuff, and they, they made that promise, like, everything's canon from now on. But that's like shackles, you know what I mean? Especially shackles when you actually don't know what the plan is. So you can't let people near that timeline in canon, because you're like, we don't know, right? So it really hurt them. So weirdly enough, my answer is they need to figure out the films, so that then they can give free reign to the video game people and figure out how to fit it into what they're doing. So I think High Republic stuff could be cool. But yeah, mostly, like, if they don't figure out the plan and actually integrate, it's not going to be dope.
I want to see more of Fallen Order. I love that storyline, and I love where they're going with it, so I just want to see that continue into Fallen Order 2 with Order 66. I find that probably the most interesting era. That and right before the Phantom Menace. I think there's a ton of stuff that could be explained and shown and played and all this and that. What up, Parth? What's going on? Thank you guys for watching today's episode of Nerd Theory Podcast. I hope you like the name. If you don't like it, well,
too bad.
Hey, Star Wars HQ, what up? Take it easy and had fun hanging out. Almost 1 month until Mando Season 2. Yes. Love you, Star Wars HQ. Hope you guys are doing well, Robbie and Ryan. Are there gray Jedi in Star Wars canon? Not according to Freddie Prinze Jr. Love seeing you two together. Great content. Pick my saber color. Orange.
Hot pink, Godfather.
Hot pink. Invisible.
Yeah.
Invisible and silent. Okay, love you guys. We'll catch you in the next one next week, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. See you then.